Planning your next post-COVID vacation? Be prepared with the help and expert advice of the Travel Guys.
Hello and welcome to the Travel Guys. I'm Mike Hogan and my guest today is Sally from New Caledonia Tourism. Welcome, Sally. Great to have you on the show. A destination I really, really love. New Caledonia, Noumea, the city, etc. You've got a great job.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a real pleasure to be with you today.
Tell me, how long have you been with New Caledonia Tourism?
It started a couple of years ago. While I was in the hotel industry in New Caledonia. And when they started to say, well, we want to have more tourists in New Zealand. So I raised my hand and I said, well, I can be this one. And, you know, I was involved with Australian and New Zealand market and always loved New Zealand. And it was just such a wonderful opportunity to come to New Zealand to promote New Caledonia. So here I am.
You're doing a great job, I know that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about New Caledonia. So firstly, we say it's a misnomer. People just think New Caledonia is Noumea. Now, Noumea is the capital of New Caledonia, of course. But it's a lot bigger than that, isn't it? Can you and the location and getting there at all? Can you just give us some background on that?
Yeah, Noumea is the capital. It's where you have almost everything. It's a small city or big city.
How many people, just out of interest, approximately?
In the island itself, we have 260,000 inhabitants, and half of the population is based in the south in Noumea. So Noumea plus the suburb would be around 100,000. Probably the equivalent of Wellington here.
Something like Hamilton, possibly.
Probably. That's
but
right,
I think it's important to stress that because I know people often go to places like that and Papeete as well. Excuse me, thinking, gosh, we're going to go to a tropical island. They get off the plane and there'll be sandy beaches and so on. They're cities. They're fabulous, vibrant cities, but they are cities.
They are cities, indeed. Yeah. You have everything you need. You have boutiques, you can do shopping, French brands.
Fantastic
you can go on a restaurant, you have cafes, nightlife is very active in New Caledonia as well, in Noumea, and you have beautiful beaches as well. Everywhere you have sandy white sand beaches. So
I can vouch for that. Because later on we're going to talk about what Noumea itself has got to offer. And then we'll talk later on again about the island itself and what's got to offer. It's French, very French.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How long have the French had a presence there? Can I ask that question?
It's probably, because the British didn't claim the land. You lost that one. It's very special, It's a little piece of France lost in the South Pacific. A lot of people compare Noumea with the French Riviera, in the south of France.
Sure.
Because you have this vibrant city and you have this mix of culture between the French and the Melanesians, the Kanak. That's natives, that's how we call them, the Kanak. So we have the French influence and you have a tropical destination at the same time. And only 2.5 hours flight from Auckland.
I think it's important to stress that it is the closest international destination from New Zealand. People aren't aware of that.
That's right. 2.5 hours. No need to go to Paris and have this French feeling. Spend 24 hours on a plane. 2.5 hours flight from Auckland. You're immersed in the French culture. So you'll have your croissant, your baguette, your cheese, your glass of wine, while facing this beautiful sunset on a beach, with the tropical flowers and so on. So it's just the beauty of it, I think. And
your accent sells that too, I might add.
I try to do my best.
I want to be there now.
I know.
But again, New Caledonia itself, am I right in saying it's about 2/3 the size of the North Island? Or is it's so much bigger than people realise?
A lot of people think, I can just drive around in one day. No, indeed, it's a long, big baguette. The shape of it's like a big stick, a big French baguette, and it's roughly to 450 kilometers long.
Okay, it's not as big as I thought then, but it's
it's quite big. So it takes days to drive around. So I never recommend to do below 10 days.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll be driving all the time.
Yes, of course.
And not doing activities.
That's for a New Caledonian holiday.
Yeah.
But you still can go to Noumea for a long weekend, can't you? Because it's so easy to get to.
Actually, a lot of Kiwis start to understand that the proximity, and indeed for a long weekend, you leave on a Friday, come back on a Monday or Tuesday, and completely different planet. So for a short getaway or for a longer holiday, New Caledonia offers a lot of different options.
Okay, flight services, who flies there?
So the national carrier is Air Calin.
Yep.
Air Calin.
Yep.
Air Calin, and Air New Zealand as well. So we have both airlines flying to New Caledonia, yeah.
How many flights a week then? What, 4 flights a week?
Between 4 to 5 to 6 times a year, depending on
seasonal.
Seasonal. During the peak holidays or summertime, you have more, but we never go below 4 times. After COVID, we start with 4 times a week now, but we'll go to 5 and 6 very quickly.
Okay, peak times to travel. Now, most for the South Pacific, people tend to go in our winter time. Is it similar for New Caledonia, or is it slightly different?
Well, the school holidays obviously are very popular.
Even our summer school holidays, December, January.
Yeah. But the main season would be July school holidays. That's the perfect timing because you have a lovely 25 degrees, 26 degrees.
I was going to ask what the temperature is, 25, 26.
Yeah, that's the winter.
No, that's not. But it's interesting you say that because I've been to some tropical islands.
Yeah.
And I remember going out to dinner once and on a very well-known tropical island, and it was in July.
Yeah.
And it was 8 degrees. It was so cold. There was a wind blowing, and I thought a lot of people don't realise it. Some parts of the South Pacific can get quite cool in July.
But you're right. We have a winter.
Yeah.
We have the cool season and the dry season and the wet season with warmth. But if you go to July and August, not in Noumea, but in the bush, out of the city, it can drop to 5 degrees in this.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's quite unusual, and it's quite a hilly island too. So at the top of the mountains, it's quite.
But if you're in Noumea on the beach and it's fine and sunny, about 22 or 23 degrees.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, there's a big difference between winter here and winter out there. But it's only subtropical. It's not tropical. That's why we have this season. So,
that's really, really interesting.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to The Travel Guys. I'm Mike Hogan and my guest today is Sally from New Caledonia Tourism. Welcome, Sally.
Thank you.
Okay, it's great to have you here. Now we're going to talk about Noumea, the city of Noumea. One thing I really like about it, I found fascinating when I went there, it's something I likened it to Auckland. We've got some great swimming beaches there, like we've got Mission Bay, we've got Kohi, we've got Milford and Takapuna and so on. But what Noumea's got is Ansvada Beach, Bay de Citron, and the Amity Lighthouse. These are 3 off the top of my head, but these are
good on you.
That's all right. Beautiful swimming beaches and warm with crystal clear water, particularly Bay de Citron. I thought it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so just explain, if you're coming, you mentioned that long weekend. I'm in Noumea. What just some of the things that you would recommend people do, and why would you go to Noumea for not just a short stay, of course, but a long stay as well?
Yeah, sure. No, there's so much to do in Noumea. It's unbelievable. So you mentioned Lansvata Bay and Lemon Bay, La Baie des Citrons, iconic. It's where all the locals go for a glass of wine. So you have lots of boutiques and cafes and bars and good restaurants up there. The view is just amazing, especially at the sunset. I would recommend to go on Lemon Bay. Lansvata Bay, it's more on the wind, so you have all the kite surfers.
Oh, that was just amazing when I was there.
They jump crazy, those guys. It's just unbelievable. Actually, there's in November, you have the Alizé, the breeze, the wind, and there's a big competition, international competition.
I must tell you, one of the funniest things I've ever seen when I was up on the Lansvata beach, and there was heaps of windsurfers out there.
Yeah.
I somehow connected with the I think it was North Shore, the football team that were up there. I'd done some travel for them. I didn't know that. Forgot they were there. Might come over and have a chat. So I was sitting on the beer, having a beer with these guys.
Yeah.
And you can picture 14 to 15 raw bones football players, and this kite, so this windsurfer girl came in. She was stunningly beautiful, topless.
Oh, wow.
And she just guided this right in front of the boys and just stepped off and just tossed her hair back like that and walked past. You've never seen 14 guys just going. It was a sight to behold. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
French girls are like
I know, exactly. It was absolutely delightful to see. It's a great beach though. But so they've got the beaches, got the cafes, nightlife, etc. I found the food fascinating. It can be more expensive than New Zealand because, as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, most taxes are based on a VAT tax in New Cal, same as Tahiti.
Yes.
So the income tax is lower,
Yeah.
but therefore prices of certain items can be more dear than what we're expecting here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an island, so we need to import things and goods. So that's understandable. However, I can tell you, cheese is less expensive than here.
Anywhere in the world, I think cheese is less expensive than New Zealand.
Especially the French cheese imported, from France.
Yeah.
We eat quite a lot of cheese. It's part of our culture.
Yes, of course.
Baguette and a good glass of wine. It's part of a daily routine.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much something.
The croissants are to die for.
Croissant made with the chef from France as well. Yeah, it's pretty much a good reason to go to New Caledonia is to have that French feeling.
Croissants are about 90% butter, and yet everybody in France eats gallons of them. You don't see they overweight people.
Yeah, well,
they may be Kiwi visitors. Says he trying to suck his tummy in.
After 50, I'm not too sure of that, but you have to eat a lot. I think, it is from birth. We were raised with that butter of cream. It's most of good fat, we say.
Exactly. Places to stay, wide variety of accommodation.
Sorry?
A wide variety of accommodation.
Oh, there's a little bit for everyone. Okay. From backpackers, youth hotels, very cheap but very comfortable. 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star resorts. Okay. Self-contained as well, because
so you do have apartment-style accommodation.
Yes, we have apartment-style, and I think it's quite handy to have a fridge and something.
Oh, for sure. The Kiwis love it. Kiwis love that, in my opinion.
And indeed, you can go to the supermarket in Noumea. You buy your pate, your cheese, and you can do a picnic on the beach. So sometimes it's a little bit costly to go every time in a restaurant. You just go to the supermarket and you can cook those beautiful ingredients that you can find at the market. I really encourage people to go to the market, the city market in the morning in Noumea. It's full of flavor, colors. You have fresh tropical foods. The fish market is absolutely fantastic. We have so many varieties and colors. It's all fresh from fish from the lagoon. So it's you have to do that once in your life. It's beautiful.
I must admit, I did with a group. We went to one of the supermarket, and it was fantastic. It was just a great experience. We had to drag people out. We're going to go now. No, we're going to stay on a bit longer.
Exactly.
And it wasn't that expensive. It really was a surprise.
Yeah. And you have everything you need. It's quite big. We have the same brand as in France, and yeah, it's a must-do. Going to the supermarket, it's the wow factor.
I loved it. I really did. And one of my favourite trips was a day trip out to Amity Lighthouse. So
that was a nice one.
Extraordinary. I mean, the watercolour is breathtaking, and the snorkeling was great. And it's just a really neat outing for the day. It was pretty well a full day, isn't it? If I remember rightly.
Yeah. They come to pick you up at your hotel.
That's right.
And it's pretty much an hour by boat from Numia, so Amity Lighthouse Island. It's a reserve, as I just mentioned, and it's where you really can swim with the turtles, because you know those big turtles, turtles, they come and they eat the seaweeds. There, so you can literally take your snorkeling kits and swim with them, looking at them so close. We just ask people not to touch them because it's wildlife. And I have to say again that New Caledonia's lagoon is listed on UNESCO World Heritage. It has been listed in 2008, and we try to protect the maritime life as much as we can because it's just unbelievable. Just with your snorkeling kits, no need to dive to be a diver. You can see so beautiful corals and fish and sharks as well. You know, the big ones. But turtles, there's nothing more beautiful than a turtle. You know, eating the grass in front of you.
They weren't there when I was there. I'd love to have seen that. I really would. Yeah.
Did you climb up to the?
I did.
The view of there is just fantastic.
Spectacular.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
So we're going to talk the rest of the island shortly, but I love the fact that Nuia has got great accommodation, beautiful beaches, and the eating and dining is sensational.
Not New Caledonia.
Did I say Nuia?
Yes, you said Nuia. Of course you did.
I'm so sorry. New Caledonia. That was a Freudian slip.
No, but it's the same. But you can compare. You know, it's just good accommodation, lots on offer. The water is absolutely pristine, and we don't have massive tourism, so there's space for everyone. And sometimes you're like, I'm going to that corner of the beach. If you see someone, you just change. You don't want to share this piece of paradise. And that's what I always say. You know, New Caledonia is pretty much the best kept secret in the South Pacific. So you have it all. You have the vibrant city. You have beautiful beaches as well. A lot of people don't know that yet. So I'm here to promote with you.
Hello and welcome to The Travel Guys. I'm Mike Hogan and my guest today is Sally from New Caledonia Tourism. Hi, Sally.
Hi, Mike.
Let's talk about New Caledonia, the whole destination. Now, before we do, can I tell you a little story? Years and years ago, many years ago, we're on a trip there and we stayed at this beautiful place called Burai. Did I pronounce that right?
Burai, yes.
It's just stunning. And there was a chap there and he came running into the dining room, like an old guy, well into his 70s or 80s even, and he was dancing around with this tin in his hand. It turned out he was a soldier in the Second World War. He was based there. And before he left to come back at the end of the war, he had a cigarette tin and he put a little note to himself and he buried it under a palm tree there. And he said, one day I'm going to come back. And there he was back, like 30 or 40 years ago. And he found this little tin. It was just for some reason, I'm telling you about it many, many years ago, but it was fascinating. What a beautiful place that was, Burai. Yeah. But it's just indicative of, as I understand, I didn't see a lot of the country, the actual countryside of the main island of New Caledonia. So much to offer.
Yeah, it's quite big indeed.
Yeah.
Numia is the capital, but the rest of the country has to be seen because it's just unbelievable. The true New Caledonia, probably, with the west coast and the east coast and the Loyalty Islands and this beautiful Isle of Pines too. Yeah,
the Isle of Pines is ridiculous. Tell me a little bit about the Isle of Pines. I've read about it. I've seen pictures of it. I've never been. Is it as stunningly beautiful as everybody says it is?
I can tell you, it's something that you have to do once in your life.
Really?
Believe me.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I don't know if it comes with the pine trees or the people up there, but there's something special and something special in my heart too, because there's always a good story, something's happening there, good experience. The vibe up there is fantastic. But the quality of the sand is amazing. We talk a lot about Uvea in the Loyalty Island, but Isle of Pines is just a pure merveille, we say in French. It's absolutely beautiful.
And you can stay. There's accommodation there?
Really good accommodation. Okay. We have 5-star, 4-star gîte as well. So gîte is more like they host you in a family style homestead.
You can do that. That's great.
Yep. We have campings as well. So for lower budgets, it's working quite well.
It's quite unusual in the South Pacific to have camping grounds.
Yeah, we have camping grounds as well. And you can have lobster on the beach, at the barbecue. It's just...
Is access by flight or by ferry?
Both. I always recommend, if you don't have a lot of time, 25 minutes by flight from the domestic airport, which is in Magenta. Yeah. In the city, not international airport. So you don't have to drive back to the international airport to go to anywhere else in the country. Yeah. So it's a short flight of 25 minutes. Okay. Otherwise, with a ferry as well, it will take 2 hours and a half to get there. So but it's doable.
And the other islands you mentioned, the Loyalty Islands, Lifu and...
Murray and Uvea. Beautiful. Very wild, very authentic, remote. Probably forget about your phone there because it's just
not going to work. No.
Yeah, it's going to work. We have a good coverage everywhere in the country, but I'm saying just really island time in the island. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's just beautiful. The Uvea is iconic. It's the closest place in paradise, in New Caledonia. Is just so well known. Yeah. The sharks nursery, the Pleiade, we call it the Pleiade. It's where you can go and dive. It's just beautiful. You feel like Robinson Crusoe, but with the 4-star resort behind you.
Oh, that's even better. Actually, I didn't realize until I read. I sort of knew this, but I didn't realize that New Caledonia has got the second biggest barrier reef in the world. Mm-hmm. In the world. In the world, yes, indeed. I was absolutely fascinated to read that, and that's why the snorkeling diving is so good, and that's why the small ship sailing is so good.
And sailing is amazing. Yeah. So. Water activities are very popular for that. We have diving spots almost everywhere on the east coast, in the north, in the south. Sailing obviously, and kite surfers because it's quite windy in some places. Sure. We have a spot for surfers as well. It's not as iconic as Australia, but we do have some options for surfers as well.
So pretty much everyone's covered. Another thing that I found fascinating, I read an article about some guys that went to New Caledonia to catch bonefish.
Yeah, and fishing,
they paid thousands of dollars to go right up to the north of the island. Got a 4-wheel drive for about 8 hours, then got in a canoe for about 6 hours, and then slept in some huts on the beach just to catch bonefish. Yeah. I didn't even know anything about them until I researched it. They're about the size, not even of a big snapper, but they're one of the greatest fighting fishes in the world. People come from all over the world to come to New Cal.
And we have the big GT,
Giant Trevally.
It's just...
I caught a little GT once, and it gave the biggest fright I've had in my life of fishing. They're amazing. Yeah. Yeah, of course, there's fishing, dive, all the water sports they're attracted to there too. Yeah.
And we are lucky because, as I said, the lagoon is listed on UNESCO World Heritage, so you're not allowed to fish everywhere. We try to protect that. However, you go with a professional and you have good chance to catch because, we try to keep it as safe as we can, and it's just beautiful. Yeah. Another good activities to do is fishing.
I think I just said on your website there's 15 activities. I think we've gone through a few of them today, or this evening, I beg your pardon. It's going to be harder to cover all of them. It is. But,
yes, on land activities and and above as well. So you can fly over the lagoon. That's a must do as well.
Also, the museum with the extraordinary structures. What's the name of it?
The Chibao Center,
yes,
the cultural
amazing.
center, Chibao Center. Yeah. Actually, this cultural center was designed by Renzo Piano, who's the Italian architect, who did some buildings very well known in Paris, like the Pompidou Center.
Okay.
He did some buildings in Australia, and he designed the Osaka airport building.
Wow.
So this structure is just amazing.
Okay.
It's like Melanesian hut. And it was designed to showcase and to promote the Kanak culture. And it's a must-do when you're staying in Noumea, because you understand a little bit of the country, you know, the story of the country, not only on the political side, but the history and the culture of the Kanak. And it's just beautiful. It's a must-do.
I've heard that's a must-do. We've covered about 20 must-dos already.
There's a lot to do.
So it's been so good to have you on the show. It's you've reignited my passion for the destination. I love it. I'd love to go back. Thanks so much for coming. It's been great having you.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime, come to see me there. You'll be my guest.
I'll take you up on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Thanks, Sally. Well, to find out more about New Caledonia, head to the website newcaledonia.travel. I'm Mike Hogan, and I'll see you next time.